The unforgettable consequence of family turmoil, a genuine tale of betrayal. Salutations to everyone. I am Den, and I have reached the age of 48 years. In this video, I want to recount a story about the gravest mistake I have ever committed, a blunder that cost me everything. This is the story of my journey with my son-in-law, the unexpected consequences that I set in motion. The moment of realization about my mistake is etched in my memory. Amidst the relentless march of time, a story stirs within me, yearning to be told. My aim is not to seek sympathy, but to act as a reminder for myself and for those watching this video. A brief instance of vulnerability can truly possess the ability to dismantle an entire existence. Come along as we set forth on this storytelling adventure. Once, I carried a profound pride in my identity. I have always viewed myself as a dedicated mother. My children will forever remain my foremost concern, a devoted companion. I always place my family's well-being at the forefront, and above all, I embody the strength of a remarkable woman, keenly aware of the difference between right and wrong, and committed to protecting the values I cherish deeply. Throughout my journey, nothing holds greater significance than Imogen, my sole daughter. She brightens my life, the deepest source of inspiration that drives me to overcome obstacles. My heart and dreams are eternally bound to Imogen, firmly believing that with my unwavering support and love, she is destined for a life brimming with happiness and purpose. Imogen and Aiden pledged their love to one another in a heartfelt ceremony. A vibrant young person, a mesmerizing gentleman whose grace and charm naturally captivated everyone around him. In my opinion, Aiden embodied the perfect husband and was also the model son-in-law. He offered Imogen a level of care and tenderness that any mother would dream of for her cherished daughter. A wave of tranquility washed over me as I contemplated the notion that Imogen had finally found the soulmate she genuinely deserved. In an unexpected turn of events, it was I, the one who found fulfillment in leading Imogen toward a life rich with purpose. How to distinguish between right and wrong. Who betrayed her with the deepest malice and heartlessness. There are moments when life reveals itself in ways that challenge our assumptions. The ideals I once held dear. The beliefs I once cherished deeply. In an instant, everything fell apart, slipping through my fingers during those fleeting moments of vulnerability. In that instant, the tragedy that would forever alter the course of my family revealed itself. It all started on April 15th, 2022. It was the day Imogen and Aiden decided to move closer to my home. The morning air carried a refreshing chill, signaling the long-awaited arrival of spring. The sky unfurled in a perfect blue, untouched by even a solitary cloud, while deep within my heart, an atmosphere of bewilderment hung palpably around, a thrilling yet disquieting feeling that defied description. Imogen expressed with great enthusiasm that living near her mother would infuse her life with both convenience and warmth. I welcomed that choice with delight, cherishing the profound connection with my daughter as I witnessed every step of her journey into marriage. In my view, nothing carries more weight than that. From the moment our paths first intertwined, Aiden, Imogen's partner, left an indelible mark on my life. He possesses a captivating aura, defined not just by his handsome features, but also by a palpable self-assurance and a polished grace in his words. Aiden consistently radiates warmth and reassurance to everyone he meets, sharing tender moments and humorous stories, occasionally laced with delightful banter. A smile unfurls upon the curve of his lips. A smile has the remarkable ability to effortlessly melt away all tension, as if the vast complexities of the universe could be distilled into pure simplicity. In the days that unfolded after Imogen and Aiden settled in, our meetings grew increasingly common. When Imogen is engrossed in her tasks or away from home, Aiden often drops by, bringing with him a selection of delightful dishes, either lovingly prepared or procured from the couple's beloved shop. I am confident that this apple pie will bring you joy. Aiden spoke with a smile, placing the box gently on the kitchen counter. Occasionally, he would settle into a chair and strike up a conversation with me, delving into topics about work, the plans he had crafted, or even the little nuances of the day. At first, The conversations unfolded seamlessly, infused with a feeling of naturalness and unplanned charm. Aiden had a distinctive way of expressing himself that made those around him feel genuinely seen and understood. He often pondered the nature of existence, delving into the elements that intrigued me. Occasionally, a clever touch was skillfully interlaced, eliciting a smile from me. I kept reminding myself that these were simply everyday interactions, authentic moments of closeness between a mother-in-law and her son-in-law. Yet, beneath the surface, a transformation began to take shape. Occasionally, Aiden would entertain us with a witty story. He would suddenly lift his eyes. Our eyes met for a brief moment. An undeniable attraction drew me closer to them. His eyes glimmered with a captivating brilliance. An adorable, yet mysterious essence hung in the air. It surpassed the superficial role of a son-in-law in the perception of his mother-in-law. Yet, beneath the surface, there exists a deeper essence that quickens my pulse. I recognized that dwelling too much on my thoughts was not the route I ought to follow. I felt that those vague emotions were misdirected. Aiden, my daughter's husband, has always been someone I cherish and depend on deeply. Yet, there were moments when those emotions surged unexpectedly, catching me off guard and leaving no time to prepare. Whenever Aiden's eyes accidentally met mine, I found myself striving to avoid them, trying to uphold my poise. I tried to persuade myself that it was just a momentary misunderstanding. As time went on, I began to realize more and more that my thoughts were eluding my control. What started as simple exchanges gradually evolved into treasured moments I looked forward to with great anticipation. Aiden's seemingly carefree words transformed into a burden that lingered in my mind, casting shadows over my thoughts. On the 15th day of April in the year 2022, Imogen and Aiden approached my home with a sense of purpose. I felt it signified the beginning of a thrilling journey, filled with love and a profound connection between my daughter and me. In hindsight, I realized that it was also the day when everything began to quietly unravel, hidden away in the shadows, unseen by all. Little did I know, I was walking along a dimly lit path that stretched out ahead of me. The afternoon unfurled, draped in a cloak of serene tranquility. The fading sunlight of the day gently streamed through the kitchen window, casting delicate beams of light upon the floor. Imogen was deeply absorbed in her tasks at the office. In the comforting embrace of my home, I busied myself with a few small tasks when Aiden stepped into the room. He carried a toolbox, his trademark radiant smile illuminating the surroundings. Imogen informed me that your kitchen chair is in a state of disrepair. Aiden offered to make the necessary adjustments. His voice carried a softness, yet it held an unwavering strength. I offered a slight nod, feeling a flicker of embarrassment at his thoughtful demeanor. Aiden placed the chair in the middle of the kitchen, crouching down to examine the wobbly connections. I hovered nearby, grappling with the motivations that urged me to stay instead of leaving. It may have originated from a longing to observe his method in tackling the challenge before him. It might have been the profound intimacy that Aiden's presence always seemed to inspire. He began his work with meticulous attention to detail, every movement purposeful and infused with intention. His strong fingers clutched the wrench with relentless resolve. Every screw was tightened with a serene precision that filled me with wonder. In that moment, I started to see him not just as my son-in-law, but as a dynamic young man full of life, possessing an alluring mix of confidence and talent that made it almost impossible for anyone to look away. In a fleeting moment, Aiden raised his eyes. Our eyes met in a sudden, unforeseen moment. His smile, both gentle and comforting, enveloped me in a haze of bewilderment. In that brief moment, an unexplainable feeling awakened inside me, making my heart flutter with a gentle intensity. The air around me seemed to descend into a deep silence, wrapping me in its stillness. Only his eyes and his smile lingered in the air. My heart quickened, a surge of unanticipated excitement coursing through me. An unusual feeling began to surface, a feeling I acknowledged as taboo. It plunged me into a whirlpool of uncertainty. Confusion enveloped me like a thick fog. I quickly turned my gaze away from his penetrating stare. He pivoted, his body shifting to face the other direction. She approached the sink, pretending to arrange a few scattered items. Nevertheless, Aiden's presence hovered just behind me, tangible and inescapable. The gentle chime of utensils resonated softly through the atmosphere. The moment passed quickly, but it was enough to stir a deep emotion within me. A single thought lingers on the tip of my tongue, reluctant to escape my lips. From that moment on, everything I understood transformed. My heart had surrendered the peace it once cherished. Everything started to unravel, slipping beyond the grasp of control. The sun dipped below the horizon on the evening of August 27th, 2022. On that particular day, Imogen was deeply absorbed in her tasks at the office, conveying that she would be heading home later than her usual hour. The house succumbed to an eerie quietude. The gentle, muted yellow glow from the living room enveloped the area in a serene stillness. As I nestled into the welcoming arms of the sofa, a wave of comfort washed over me. As I lost myself in the pages of a captivating book, the sudden chime of the doorbell shattered my tranquil escape. As the door creaked open, Aiden emerged, a silhouette frozen in time, grasping a small paper bag with delicate fingers. A familiar smile illuminated his face. I stopped by to ask about the present for Imogen's birthday. I longed for it to be remarkable. Aiden expressed a deep appreciation for your perspective. His tone exuded a sense of ease and genuine emotion. He stepped over the threshold, greeted with open arms. Aiden's presence appeared to elevate the oppressive atmosphere that enveloped them. He placed the paper bag gently on the table. A chair was positioned directly opposite me. They began to explore various possibilities for gifts. We delved into a dialogue, exchanging our reflections. He deftly wove in a handful of jokes that elicited a smile from me. A bottle of wine, a considerate offering from Imogen's mother, stands ready for our wedding anniversary celebration. Could I take it away? I asked. I don't genuinely expect a reply. Before long, we settled next to each other on the sofa, each holding a glass of wine with a sense of ease. At first, the conversation meandered around the subject of the gift. Yet, as time passed, the dialogue meandered into various topics. I reflected on the vivid memories of my youth, the trials and tribulations of motherhood. Aiden focused intently. Occasionally, he would nod with a thoughtful air or ask a few questions, gently expressing his concern. The experience of finally having my voice acknowledged, after enduring years of isolation, filled me with a profound sense of relief. The level of wine in my glass diminished slowly, while Aiden attentively refilled it for me. His eyes, caught in the shimmering glow of the wine glass, took on an unexpectedly intimate quality. Aiden observed, "It's evident why Imogen thinks so highly of you." His voice carried a gentle quality, imbued with sincere purpose. "You are an exceptional woman, not just a mother, but a being of incredible strength and unwavering resilience." Those words are quite clear and direct. It awakened a feeling inside me that was hard to put into words. Uncertainty enveloped me, a fog that could have been born from the alcohol or the profound loneliness that had gradually taken root within me. Every word Aiden spoke seemed to penetrate the hidden recesses of my soul. A subtle smile danced upon my lips as I set the glass of wine down on the table. Nevertheless, my hands trembled just a touch. My eyes naturally found Aiden's, and in that fleeting moment of contemplation, a hush surrounded us. Though the source of my inspiration eludes me, I found myself drawn to Aiden, instinctively placing my hand on his shoulder, a simple gesture of compassion. Yet it portrayed time as though it had come to a complete halt. Aiden confronted it directly. One event unfolded into another, and in a fleeting moment of profound vulnerability, we ventured into territory that ought to have remained untouched. Upon the sofa, it persisted for more than merely a few hours. I find it difficult to remember every single ephemeral moment. A sudden wave of confusion, awkwardness, and the heavy burden of unspoken rules washed over me in that moment. The room suddenly felt smaller, an oppressive sense of confinement enveloping it like a heavy shroud. The distance that had kept us apart seemed to dissolve completely. In the aftermath, Aiden and I both endeavored to cease our activities. I determined that this was the time for all things to come to an end. This error must not be repeated. However, the murmurs of self-soothing faded into the background of my mind, as every meeting with Aiden sent them tumbling down once more. A wave of tension washed over me again, a relentless power lurking just below the exterior. Each time our eyes met, an extraordinary feeling would arise. Veiled in reservation, tinged with anticipation, and steeped in the allure of the forbidden, our message danced on the edge of ambiguity. Nevertheless, the seemingly arbitrary stories frequently seemed to conceal profound meaning. A phrase drawn from the void, a fleeting smile, a gaze that lingered, steadfast and unyielding, far beyond what one might anticipate. Each was like an invisible thread, pulling us closer, little by little, with every step we took. There were days when Inogen stepped into the world of work. Aiden arrived, mentioning the necessity of fixing something in the house, or maybe to present a small gesture of gratitude. I strived to keep my distance, worked hard to uphold the limits of a traditional relationship. Nevertheless, I found myself increasingly conscious that my efforts were descending into a domain of pointlessness. It was at that moment that our meetings began to intertwine, dissolving the lines that once separated them. Our meetings evolved from chance encounters to intentional gatherings, meticulously orchestrated for those times when Inogen was absent. At first, it was just Aiden dropping in to offer assistance with repairs or to seek my advice on a particular issue. As time passed, the conversations started to elongate. The gentle touches revealed a sense of assurance. Beyond the boundaries of our residence, we orchestrated excursions to luxurious hotels. In the sheltered space of my daughter's home, we embraced an air of carefulness and discretion in every action we took. I have diligently concentrated on every minute detail. The neighbor's watchful eyes cast a shadow over the imminent arrival of Inogen, her unexpected return stirring a palpable tension in the air. Aiden often emphasized the importance of exercising caution. It lingers in the shadows, concealed from every gaze. Nevertheless, that shroud of restriction and concealment made the process of release even more difficult. In the hushed embrace of tranquil afternoons within the empty house, I welcomed Aiden into my abode, and together we made it a regular occurrence. We persisted in our betrayal of that trust, letting the deception fester and deepen, and those actions morphed into a haunting chapter. I have persistently felt as though I was walking a fragile tightrope, acutely aware of its capacity to snap at any moment, yet still unable to turn back. Regardless of our attempts to hide it, every time Aiden entered that house, I could feel the atmosphere around me change distinctly. His eyes glimmered with an emotion I struggled to name, and I could feel my heart pounding, a persistent reminder that our choices were flawed. I continually implored myself to stop, to bring it to an end before it spiraled out of control. Yet, every time I thought I had the courage to voice it, Aiden's gaze left me utterly speechless. The connection that unites us, despite the mistakes, was an undeniable power. Consequently, I continued to engage in dates that raised ethical eyebrows. Even with the relentless, murky fear residing deep in my chest, I couldn't dispel the sense that this hidden truth was fated to come to light. On that remarkable day, a day forever imprinted in my mind, the afternoon air carried the refreshing bite of early autumn. The gentle golden rays of sunlight poured through the living room window, weaving shimmering paths of light across the wooden surface. Aiden and I settled comfortably on the sofa. The atmosphere enveloped us, heavy with an almost suffocating tension that seemed to pulse in the air. We pledged to uphold our distance. I have endeavored countless times to bring it to a close. Yet it is essential to acknowledge that we both fell prey to a profound vulnerability. With Aiden's gentle grip on my hand, we succumbed to our desires, rushing to relive the moment once again. The sentiments we longed to articulate, we received counsel to halt. All that once existed faded away. In an unexpected moment, the main door burst open. Inogen's image struck like a lightning bolt, illuminating the depths of a dream. She stood frozen in the doorway. Her eyes widened, overflowing with incredulity. It eluded my understanding entirely. The events that unfolded felt almost dreamlike as I simply watched Inogen. Time seemed to freeze in that moment. Her eyes glistened with unfallen tears, if only for a brief instant. The torment carved into her features transcended language. "Mother, Aiden, what are the two of you engaged in?" Imogen unleashed a scream that pierced the air. Her voice quivered, ensnared in the whirlwind of rage and grief. The words slipped through my fingers, utterly beyond my grasp. A tightness gripped my throat. A massive stone loomed in the way, blocking the path ahead. Unyielding, I made an effort to part my lips. Nevertheless, the moment was shrouded in silence. Explanations. I extend my deepest apologies. Everything faded into insignificance in this moment. Aiden cast his eyes downward. His expression bore the weight of regret and humiliation. He avoided meeting Imogen's eyes. His hands clenched into tight fists, trembling with intensity. The air in the room seemed to have taken on a tangible form, heavy and unyielding. Only the sound of Imogen's labored breaths lingered, accompanied by the frantic rhythm of my own heartbeat. Imogen directed her gaze toward me. Her eyes overflowed with a blend of accusation and an unspoken request for empathy. Yet, I stood there, utterly at a loss for words, for nothing I could say would ever erase the pain I had caused her. Then Imogen turned on her heel. Warm tears cascaded down her cheeks, a silent testament to her emotions. She erupted from the house, a tempest of feelings swirling around her. The door left swinging in her wake, and I remained there, unyielding like a statue. Imogen's quick footsteps echoed along the corridor, slowly fading away until they were no more. A deep silence wrapped around the space. I directed my eyes toward Jaden, but he kept his gaze turned away. In that exact moment, it felt as if the world was disintegrating around me, the foundations I had meticulously built, the ties that constituted the essence of my being. Now irrevocably broken, I approached the door. As I looked out over the barren stretch of a yard, Imogen had slipped away, leaving no trace behind. At that moment, when the door slowly creaked open, I sensed an unmistakable change in the atmosphere. She would drift from my grasp, lost to me for all time. The pain in my heart swelled like a mighty tide, washing away every remnant of faith I once held. Now I dwell in a home that was once filled with the echoes of joy. However, what remains is merely a profound silence and an overwhelming emptiness. Imogen has cut off all contact with me. Following that pivotal moment, she cut all connections. Jaden has also taken their leave from my life. What lingers within me are mere echoes of yesteryears, memories that possess a beauty both exquisite and haunting. Every thought of them cuts through my soul like jagged shards of glass, leaving behind a profound and enduring ache. On certain nights, I find myself perched by the window, eyes fixed on the barren street, contemplating the journey that led it to this moment. What prompted me to ensnare myself in a mistake that I understood was irretrievable? My heart brimmed with an overwhelming affection for my daughter. I dedicated my whole being to protecting and cherishing her. In a brief lapse of weakness, I betrayed her in an utterly irredeemable way. As the days unfold, my life becomes a canvas, painted with relentless sorrow. The idea that Imogen could ever forgive me feels almost unfathomable, as I struggle to offer that same grace to my own heart. Each time I behold her image in those old photographs, a sensation akin to a vice tightening around my heart envelopes me. I broke her trust, leaving that faith lost and wandering. Can never return. I decided to recount this story, not in search of sympathy or forgiveness from anyone. It stands as a reminder for me, and a beacon for others who might be facing comparable struggles. Awaken and embrace the day before it fades into memory. A significant insight emerges from my error. I hope that my story will act as a warning light for those who feel lost at sea. A brief instance of vulnerability ought not to dismantle everything you have meticulously built, everything you hold dear. A transient lapse in judgment, just one miscalculation on the journey that lies before us. It possesses the ability to dismantle a whole life. The pain will persist without end. I extend my heartfelt gratitude to each and every one of you. I appreciate you lending an ear to my story, especially if you ever find yourself in a situation akin to mine. Halt your endeavors before the fleeting moment escapes your grasp. A transient instant ought not to determine the trajectory of your whole life. I have faith that no matter the circumstances, you possess the strength to protect the things that truly matter in your life.